Today we are talking about the main 6 I redesigned, and I want to touch on some of the topics and subjects about them. First one starting off is Twilight. Alright, the first thing I want to talk about with Twilight is, as you can see at the beginning of her concept idea, she has very messy hair, and she actually doesn't have a cutie mark in the beginning of her story. That her story will come out later on, but that is one of the reasons why she has messy hair. She felt like an outcast, like people judged her for not having a cutie mark. Some did, some didn't. But that is why she didn't really go out much. She was a shut-in. I went with more of like a warmer or a cooler colors, and then with accents of warm, trying to fit the more of a Twilight color-esque. And even though I did do those cutie mark mock-ups, I don't think I would be going with that same cutie mark. I definitely think it's a cool idea, but I want to revisit it and see if I can find one I like more. And I guess other things to talk about is, well, she's a very much, like I said, shut-in. She isn't as outgoing. I want to keep that aspect. She gets very much nervous around others, but she seems to get more confident with people she knows and understands. So she eventually gets comfortable and is able to show her true personality with people she carries and trusts. She likes books, manga, and let's see, I guess stuff like that. She's just more like a nerdy-esque character, really into the stuff she likes, and has this kind of like nerdy schoolgirl, but also bookkeeper vibe. And that would be Twilight. Alright, moving on to Rainbow Dash. As you see here, here are some sketches I did in my notebook. I kind of had a feeling for what I wanted to go with for hair. It somewhat makes sense. It's not a lot of it for when she's flying around and stuff, but I don't know, I think it's good. I would like to make the fact that she ties her hair up. And as you can see here, she actually has two forms. Her rainbow form and then her more yellowish form with the yellow accents. Her yellow form is for her sports, where she likes to do competition and stuff like that. As for her rainbow form, which she gets the name Rainbow from, she's more shy about and only lets people that she trusts know, but she loves to do art of any kind, like spray paint, stuff like that. That's actually how one of the main 6, Applejack, seems to find out about her, her little secret. She also loves piercings, her scars, and all sorts of stuff like that. She's the total bad butt of the group, sorry. And one thing about talking about her scars is that she actually has a lightning bolt on, like, her body from when she was struck as a young foal. So yeah, and she got plenty of scars, a little dash on her wing, a dash in her ear, some on her tail, and some on her legs. I just wanted to make her seem like a really bad butt character. Her personality is more like cruel and rugged and tomboyish, but she isn't so far out there being a bad butt and tomboy that she wouldn't like pretty stuff, but she's a lot more shy about it. And since I did want her to eventually be super colorful and rainbow, I did decide to give her heterochromia, which I think actually very much suits her, especially since she has that like purple pink eye to touch on the old version. And here is Rainbow Dash. I actually really like her. She has the biggest wings out of the set, and she has a little thunderbolt with some rings to show sports and a little flag. She represents color blue. Yeah. And next is going on to Rarity, which is one of my more favorite colors. Well, the first thing I want to address is her color. What color made her? Like, Rainbow is blue, Twilight's purple. Here's some sketches as well to show her like her hair and her cutie mark. And as you can see, I made her green, which is funny because she hates the color green.
No! Green hair! Not green hair! Oh, such an awful, awful color! Well, I never!
And even though she hates the color green, I didn't want to do rarity dirty and give her like that dark green or muted green, so I wanted to give her a more pretty teal green. So I kept her colors light to accent it a little bit more with strips of white and little freckles of blue and purple. She is also a very dainty pony, so I wanted to give her the more like dainty feel with smaller hooves. That will actually come into a story play later on of why some ponies have smaller hooves and some have bigger hooves. I'll tell more about that in the storyline. But yeah, and her name is Rarity Velveteen. She is very selfless. She's very kind. She would give the literal shirt off her back if she was wearing a shirt. Let's see. Oh, as for her cutie mark, which you'll see later on, I wanted it to represent she likes sewing, but also she likes gems. She likes gems and incorporating them, a sewing aspect. But she doesn't just like doing that. She likes to make accessories for people to wear, like bows and stuff like that. Hence the bows in her cutie mark. That's really all, except for the fact that she didn't like her green colors, but she eventually learned to love them after learning about her mom's story and where her green actually comes from. Which I think it'll be great, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. And yeah, that's Rarity. Now, moving on to Fluttershy's redesign. Her name, I'll just start off with that, is Fluttering Wisteria. Her cutie mark involves plants and animal features, as you can see in the corner. Sorry for the blurring of the sketches, I used it in red pen. I was planning on giving her glasses, I thought it would fit her. I do want to give one other of the main 6 glasses, maybe I'll do that later on. But as you can see from this concept art, she represents the color yellow. She has some bluebird feathers in her hair. And she has a lot of hair. I wanted to keep that feature because I think it really suits her. She loves to have the kids, or, well, first of all, she is very kind to animals and little kids, more the younger types of ponies. She likes to take care of them and be kind and sweet to them. And she likes to have them do her hair. I think it gives her more of a motherly kind of sweeter vibe. I wanted to touch more on not just a little bit of the elements or the personality of theirs, but to add more to it. So she's very kind, sweet, and very patient. Also thinking that she has loads of siblings, that she doesn't just have her older brother, but she has loads of little younger siblings, which I think would be super cute to see her have to interact with them and make the reason why she is so patient. I also wanted to give her bits of brown and green to go with the vibe of like kind of an earthy one, because she just loves getting out in nature, growing plants, helping out with animals, and being an overall very naturey girl. And that is Fluttershy. The next one we will be moving on to, I believe, hang on, let me go through my little book, is Applejack. Alright. Talking about Applejack is, first of all, here are some little sketches. They're not concept designs, they were done afterwards, but I thought she deserved something too. I want to talk about her colors in a cutie mark. At first, she had originally this kind of light brownish hair, which she got from her mom. But after getting her golden cutie mark, it switched over to this bright, shiny-ish gold orange, which she definitely misses her mom's hair color. She has thought about maybe dyeing it back to the original color it was, because she definitely loves having that connection with her mom and having her mom's hair. And her cutie mark I would like to touch on is the golden aspect is to represent her golden heart. She has a very strong heart and has very strong morals in believing when to be kind, when to be good, and what is right and what is wrong. And this actually interprets into one of her being one of the main 6 to first accept Zecora into the Ponyville. There's more to be talked about on that subject, and one of the things I didn't change about her was giving her her dad's hat. She still has her dad's hat, and her story is still very, very sad. But the part of the story eventually becomes very, very happy, and I'm excited for you guys to see that part. And that is Applejack. And I like her colors. I like the browns and the orange. That's the only difference between her and the others, is she doesn't have an orange coat to go with her orange hair, but I think it still fits her. I really like her design. Oh, and I do change her hair later on in the future. Instead of that bun, she just has it up in a ponytail under the hat. Now I'm gonna start ranting on about her and move over to Pinkie Pie, one of my more favorite designs. Her name is also known as Fizzy Sweets. I also forgot to say Applejack's name. I'll tell you later on about that. But Fizzy Sweets, as you can see, some concept designs here about her hair. I wanted to just definitely keep that fluffy aspect. As you can see, I made one concept design, looked over it, thought it was nice, but it was a little bit too pinkish for me. I wanted to give it a little bit more pizzazz, make it a little bit more different. So I redesigned her again, and this time gave her a longer tail because of her hair, and gave her accents of blue and a cotton candy kind of vibe. I love her accents of blue into her fur. It's super pretty, and I think it's very different. I wanted to talk about her cutie mark. As you saw previously, it has cupcakes, donuts, candies, and balloons. She loves celebrating. I didn't change that, but she also loves to bake and just make people happy and smile all together. And since that kind of runs around the same kind of cutie mark, or what she's basically doing, it kind of formed into this cutie mark. So it hasn't changed up, but it's to something else, like baking or not, but it has incorporated into a bunch of things. And talking about her colors, which I really do love, I decided to give her one of her hoofs and the tip of her ear are dipped in this like kind of brown color, which I think she gets from her donut, like the donut cutie mark. It's kind of dipped in this chocolate and has little sprinkles. I was going to give her sprinkles on her hoofs, but that seemed like way too much, so I simplified it as best as I could. I want them to be simple, but also extravagant to show the personality and the growth. That will actually become later on once I make a video talking about cutie marks and how they affect a pony and different species and subspecies. I plan to make lots of those. And I originally, as you saw in this speed paint, was going to make her bows rainbow, but I decided to go with a more simple purple version. Same with her eyes. I love her eyes. They're so shiny and cute. And she's one of the more freckled characters after Fluttershy and Applejack. And that would be the 6 redesigns. But I also wanted to do something else and show their height. So a little height one would be coming up soon to show you. Some of the more smaller ponies I decided would be Fluttershy and Twilight. I think it suits them very much. Like, they're more shy and makes them more tinier. I don't know how, but I think it fits them. Since we've talked about like their personalities, their colors, their cutie marks, maybe we even did a little bit on Fluttershy's family. Like, she has a bigger family in this one. I kind of want to talk about where I plan to go with this series. I want to delve deep into the designing and really thinking about the characters and how they interact and how people interact with them and what makes their personalities. Hence why Twilight doesn't have her cutie mark yet. That's going to be a great story for later on. It's actually one of the first stories we see. As you can see here, she still doesn't have her cutie mark when she's talking with her friends. She'll eventually get that later on. Oh, when I'm redesigning everything, I plan to redesign to their parents, and if I'm able to their grandparents as well, which I have done with Applejack's family. Oh, and talking about Applejack, I did say I was going to tell you her name. Applejack is now known as Ginger Golden, but she goes by the nickname of Jackie. I think it'd be a cute story idea if her dad was to call her Jackie all the time. I do want to make this an animated series, or maybe even a comic, but I don't have anything to make 2D rigs, or at least that's not very difficult and I don't know much about. Like, I could do it with Blender, but it would be super difficult. And I already did model a 3D pony to see what it looked like. So, you might be seeing a little sneak peek of a 3D pony. If you would like to see that, let me know down in the description below, and I'll put up a little sneak peek to it on my community. I guess that there's just going to be a lot of story elements into it, and a lot more villains I plan to redesign and recreate, and a lot more new characters I plan to add. And speaking of new characters, I plan to make so many subspecies. I've already redesigned a lot of the species in there, but I'm also adding new and subspecies. Some have cutie marks and they work differently. Here's a little sneak into the cutie marks. For the ponies, the cutie marks can affect their hair and their mane colors, sometimes completely changing them or only change them slightly, as you can see with a different couple of ponies that are coming on in the future. And I guess there are some very special things coming up, like in this world I'm gonna redesign magic, how the world flows with magic and stuff like that. Basically, I'm redesigning everything from A to Z. I am very excited for this world. It does take a lot of time, and I do need to take breaks in between so I don't get burnt out. But yeah, this has been coming for a long time, redesigning, talking about them. And hopefully in the next video I'm able to talk about speed paints and redesigns. There'll be the researchers. Yes, that is a little sneak peek for the next speed paint, hopefully. The researchers will talk about what artifacts in the world help and how the world works. Kind of like what is used for magic, how magic is used, artifacts that help with magic, and I want to make a third one just to make it fully come around. Artifacts, magic, and then, I don't know, maybe species? I'm talking like different subspecies might be a good idea. I know, I'm just throwing out ideas to talk so it's not boring. Well, if there's anything you guys would like to see with the series or any ideas, just let me know in the description below. Oh, I did want to bring attention to Applejack. I decided to give a different eye shape. I want each of them to have like a different facial feature. Still keeping that kind of cute pony-esque style, but having a different facial features like a longer snout, sharper eyes, softer eyes, stuff like that. As you saw from Pinkie Pie having rounder eyelashes, and Rainbow Dash having a more sharper lashes to show she's a lot more spunky and bad butt. That's all I can really think about talking. This is the second time I did this voiceover from Fluttershy and the rest over, so I hope this one was better. I tried to get a little bit more focused, write out a script, because when I don't write out a script, I can be very all over the place. But this last part, I didn't have a script. I wanted to touch on a couple of subjects for you guys. So as you can see, I kind of just hopped around. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video so far. And yeah, if there's anything else to let you know, I'll talk to you in a different video about it. And yeah, I guess that's it for this video. So, my little coffee beans, enjoy the rest of the speed paint. And remember that somebody out there loves and cares about you very, very much. And bye-bye, my little coffee beans.